but he does play against the computer. And he's also done it in the past against Protoss. That worked out. Let's see what this best of 5 has in store for us. Our second quarterfinal of the day. In the top right side, we're looking at the main base of one of the best players of all time, without a shadow of a doubt, opening up things with a 12 pool. It's Dragon, Phoenix, Gaming's Dark.
And his opponent in the top left side of the map, representing Team Liquid. It is a lot of the Zerg players out there. Worst nightmare. This is Elazer.
I can't believe it, Piggy. I said we haven't really seen a whole lot of Elazer ZVZ yet because the Koreans have just been choosing him. And Dark apparently said, well, they did it wrong. I can do it better. And what is kind of funny, actually, is because I had a little chat with Rainer before the series. I was like, all right, Rainer, ZVZ, quarterfinals, I'm casting with Piggly Wiggly. Talk to me. He's like, well, I honestly don't know. I'm expecting a Clown Fiesta. I was like, yeah, me too, Rainer. that does not help me. He's like, I think Dark is probably going to be a bit defensive because the other guys just cheesed Elazer. And Elazer keeps on going hedge first on very small maps. This one is somewhat small, but definitely not as small as the others. And he's like, but the Zergs has kind of messed it up. But Miko was convinced. He's like, I'm so good in defending all of this. And Rainer's like, oh yeah, well, do it against me then. Like, I'll show you what it's all about. Now, as good as Solar and Ragnarok are, they are no Dark, so I'm really curious to see what Dark is going to do in this first game. But it's more than just the regular 12 pool.
Yeah, he's got that gas coming in behind it, which does indicate, I'm thinking Speedling Flood all in as a second wave. Dark wants to get in, kill as many drones as he can, go for the cancel on the hatchery if possible, and then he's going to follow it up most likely with a big old Ling Flood. Elazer was already thinking about taking the third base, mining out the minerals, but having spotted this, he's going to have to pull his drones down and defend this hatchery.
Yeah, in a weird way, it's not too bad for Elazer that he hasn't been mining gas yet, if he can get a wall off eventually. But obviously, he needs to make sure that he can keep this hatchery alive because he needs the creep to get a wall up. If he doesn't, this one is going to be a very short one. So far, the drones is trying to buy some time. Losing a couple drones completely okay. Just don't lose too many. The first links for Elazer are out, tries to get the wrap around. But very good micro by Dark so far.
Very good micro indeed. His link speed starts up. We are not going to see a single more drone in the production tab. Dark is going to be going all in. He is massing Zerglings. These ones still here causing a bit of a ruckus. As the Queen comes out, that's going to help Elazer a lot, but he's already lost a lot of mining time.
Yep, so far that Queen taking a lot of damage as well. Few drones did go down by the looks of it. So far, granted of only a single drone, a nice micro on the Queen. But right now, there's only one thing that truly matters in this game, and that is what Elazer sees on the other side of the map. Losing this Overlord would be bad because he's already supply blocked. Now he's going to be ultra supply blocked, but you know what's even worse, Pick? That was his vision on the other side of the map. He does still have one more Overlord in the main base, but Elazer needs to know that link speed is on the way, that a link flood is coming, because if he doesn't pick up on that in the next 10 seconds, he will never get a wall off, and he's straight up dead.
There is just no way for him to defend it. He doesn't have the vision, Roddy. His Overlords are so far back. He's got this one poking in these Zerglings. But I mean, okay, there we go. He sees some Lings and some Queens, but that alone is not enough information.
He's gonna lose that one too.
Oh, this is so bad for Elazer. You can see the frown on his face. He realizes losing this Overlord is terrible. Little does he know that there is an absolute swarm of Zerglings, and this is going to be an easy victory for Dark, starting off the series with a beautiful momentum.
Here we go, 3, 2, 1, and the GG will be called. Dark takes the 1-0 lead. He's saying it all right. You guys tried to cheese Elazer, but you did it wrong. You gotta show some more heart and commitment to the all-ins. Don't 12 pool and try to macro up, no. 12 pool, link flood, and Dark takes a very quick and easy 1-0 lead and snaps that ZVZ win streak that Elazer was working on here in Valencia. That was honestly a bit sloppy by Elazer. Losing one Overlord already hurt because he was supply blocked. Losing the second one made it even worse. Really good job, of course, by Dark, keeping Elazer in the dark, no pun intended. But yeah, that's... Elazer needs to be a little more active in trying to figure out what the follow-ups are there.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those small details, but a habit that you know is queuing the Overlord Scout so that it already moves back after spotting the hatchery, just so you're safe in this scenario, because it's so hard to do that when Dark's got 14 Zerglings marauding in your natural. Elazer realized the moment that he'd forgotten to do that, it was a huge mistake, and giving up the mind there, that was, of course, a big problem for him.
Yep, hopefully that doesn't do too much to his confidence. And Elazer obviously has played a decent amount of ZVZs, guys. So whenever he says he doesn't play custom games, it doesn't mean he never plays ZVZs, because he does play in a lot of the European qualifiers or European tournaments. And he's actually found some success as well against even Reigner in some of those ZVZs.
Yeah.
From the qualifiers of King of Battles, I seem to remember. And I think in maybe one of the Homestead Cup qualifiers or something else. It happened twice in a relatively brief period. But this man does not care about that. He wants to have an awesome run here in DreamHack Valencia, and he's off to a flying start in his quarterfinals. Bottom left side, the Korean Zerg, a previous world champion. It's Dark.
Talking to himself a little bit there. Happy to get that early victory, but he doesn't want to let the momentum go. His opponent in the top right side, he's going to have to lock things down. And now, representing Team Liquid in the blue, it's Elazer.
One of the things that's very cool about this matchup is that even though Elazer and Dark have both been on top of their game for a long time, they don't play against each other that often. Because Dark, he's kind of too cool, just like Rogue and Maru, to participate in a lot of the small online tournaments. So it just doesn't happen that frequently. But it's a very storied matchup, because there was a time where Dark had pretty much never lost to a non-Korean, until Elazer actually knocked him out of BlizzCon in that 2017 year as well. So because of that, Elazer and Dark will always be a little special. And after that, of course, it started happening a bit more, because the foreign players truly became a lot stronger over time.
Like the GSL vs. the World 2019, we saw Elazer with that miracle run and eliminated Dark from the bracket stage. Dark won the best of one in the kind of team league format back against him. So they've traded series back and forth. It's cool to see that history between them. Now, the 6 Zergling pressure opening for Dark, that definitely can find a little bit of damage. I don't think you can avoid the Overlord, though. It just gets here so early, and Elazer should see those Zerglings popping out.
Yep, and I'm sure that the one in Korea is one that Dark will absolutely remember, because losing in the GSL Studio, GSL vs. the World against Elazer in the round of 16, that really has to sting, because we know Dark is a very confident individual. He's got a lot of pride as well, and I'm sure he's very eager for revenge on that. He had to wait for it a little while, Pick, but this is kind of the ultimate opportunity.
Oh.
Bailing Nest already going
15
down.
15 drones! Dude, he is going so all... I mean, there's Ling Bane attacks, and then there's this. This does not have a follow-up. This is not us being facetious. When we call this an all-in attack, Dark is going crazy hard.
I mean, Elazer is not particularly known for his scouting in some of the other matchups. He kind of likes to play blind and just rely on superior economy. In ZVZ, especially when you go up against one of the very best to ever do it, it is so important that Elazer can pick up on this in the near future. I'm following Elazer's vision all alone on my camera. I just want to see what Elazer has been looking at so far.
Sees no drones on the natural. That is telling in of itself. Potentially, 3rd and 4th Queen powers up for Elazer. He's once again going to have to rely on a wall off. Now, on this map, you don't actually have creep to the ramp, and he hasn't dropped a creep tumor yet, Roddy. It's a huge problem. He can't wall off on the front of the ramp.
Yeah, but there is one Evo chamber going down, but I'm with you. We're gonna have to really start working on that. There's the Roach War, and he will have the Queens, but the Queens obviously will have some surface area. The first few Banelings are about to reveal themselves already, and Elazer is only now really going to realize that this is happening. The Queens can buy sometime good connection. A lot of 2 Banes or 3 Banes going down though, but that's most of the links, if not all of the Zerglings of Elazer. I gotta say though, these Queens doing a very decent job. If only there was a little bit of energy for Transfuse, but they've bought a decent amount of time. Is it enough time, Pig?
Oh, losing that 3rd Queen is going to be a bummer, but the Zergling count is diminished. The Flood, though, the reinforce coming in. Drone's going to need to spread. Goods pulled by Elazer. He's got to spread them apart. Those Banelings looking for the money hits.
Yeah, I'm not quite finding it. I really like this defense so far coming out of our Polish Zerg. He still has a 7 worker lead. He will not have link speed, but if he can just start working on that wall off, you don't want to lose the final queen though, because that would be really bad. Losing 2 queens, that was acceptable. Losing 3 hurts a little. Losing all 4, that's where it's really going to sting, because you mentioned it. He's going to have such a hard time walling off.
Yeah, he's going to go back to droning as well, maybe a little bit too early. Elazer, though, he's up 7 workers, and he's building more drones in the midst of this. The greed knows no bounds, but that might be what gets him ahead in this game.
Well, I don't know about that, because there's still a couple of Banelings morphing in his main. Another Queen does fall. That could just be connected there for Dark. And the worker count has pretty much evened up, and there's still plenty of speedlings running around. Dark is droning up now, so I don't think this game is going to end, but Elazer has just taken a little too much damage. I think you're right. I think he was a little too early thinking it was over, because Dark, he wasn't done yet.
Oh, yeah. If he built some roaches there as well instead of these follow-up slow Zerglings, might have just barely done it, but the Baneling morphs inside the base doing massive damage, finding the mark. Dark at almost double the worker count here on Waterfall, and it's a fantastic setup now for him. Dark is going to try and punish you. We always talk about the classic dynamic. You've got Korean aggression and the European macro players. They like to get through the early game, cutting just a slight corner, really going knife's edge. And Dark, he's willing to go more all in than you're used to playing against. And with his perfect execution, it's so hard to hang on against.
Elazer does fire up a very quick lair, and he's got a couple of slow Zerglings on the other side of the map. That does mean that there is no way home for these Lings. Getting a cancel, I think that's a little too much as you can even dream of. There are a few Speedlings on the way. Dark doing a good time and just making sure that you know, these Lings are forced to turn around every now and then, fight his own Zerglings, and eventually his reinforcements show up. Nice micro there in the end. That's a 4 against 4 fight technically, Pick.
Yeah, not too bad there. Elazer definitely trying to make the most of it, but Dark with his speed advantage did very well. Carapace powers up for him. Both of these players very big fans of the Carapace, going for a heavy Roach Zergling focus. But with the +1, I really feel like Elazer, he might want to drop a Spire, something that can give him some comeback play. He doesn't want to just play Roach versus Roach from here.
You can really see it in the camera that Elazer is not happy. A couple of times already made very frustrated facial expressions. He's like, okay, that shouldn't have happened, that shouldn't have happened. Still gonna make the best of it. Work accounts right now dead even. Of course, Dark does have a 3rd hatchery on the way, but Elazer's got a little bit of a tech advantage. He already has Lair done, a Roach Speed is gonna be on the way. Now having Roach Speed as the aggressor going up against someone that doesn't have Roach Speed, but is just defending, is actually not that big of an advantage. You have a little more micro potential, but there isn't crazy much that Elazer can really do with the fact that he's got the Roach Speed and Dark doesn't.
Dark right now sitting at just a 2-worker advantage, happy to mass up Roaches. He's going to be making a lot of those into Ravagers, and I expect a mass Zergling surround attempt. Biles could be huge on top of the Roaches. You got to admit that Elazer's composition has more longevity, but he feels pressure because he knows Dark has a 3rd base. He doesn't realize that Dark's not building any workers for it. So Dark is going to wait for Elazer to push out, move forward, and he's going to surround and just engulf that Roach ball. I don't think Elazer has the numbers to defend this onslaught.
I really like what Dark is doing, because if he's going to get attacked by Elazer, and Elazer is going to send some Queens perhaps even, or that's just to take care of an Overlord, but no, Elazer really wants to go for an all-out attack. Dark has not overdroned. He hasn't been stubborn. He's even building a Spine. I don't think that was totally necessary because he's got more production, but I don't hate it. He's looking at this. He's like, I've got 3 bases. You've got 2. You really need to get something done here. And I'm just going to make sure that I don't build too many drones and I've got enough battle units. You don't want to lose the Ravages, though, before the party really starts, as the Lings are going to try to get the wraparound. A couple of Roaches do get surrounded, but the Queens are here. They can drop a few of those transfusions.
Big Biles landing on the Roaches, though. The Lings come in from behind. Of course, there's no reinforcer. Elazer had to keep those units at home to defend the Ling run by, and Dark, with a swift series of aggressive builds, shows us that precision that he's known for. A 2-0 advantage already. And he says, I'm not going to let this Polish player upset me once again. I've come in here super well prepared.
And I think he read the follow-up really well. But obviously, if Elazer would have done something like 2 base Spire, which is obviously not the hottest play, but maybe that was his way to get back into the game after all the damage he took early on. Dark is like, all right, I've got a lot of Roaches, I've got a lot of Lings, I'm going to have a couple of Ravagers, I will still attack you, I will definitely break through the front.
Yeah.
And regardless of what happens, I am going to get even further ahead economically and make damn sure that if you go for Mutas, they stay at home. And if you're going to attack me, well, I think I'm going to be okay. You've got 1 upgrade, I've got 1 upgrade, you go for missiles, I go for armor. It kind of cancels each other out. But I've got 3 hatcheries that I can produce off, and you only have 2.
Really good micro on the initial hold here by Elazer, but without a wall off, right? Without those Queens in the wall, no way to wall off with an Evo chamber since there was no creep tumor. It doesn't reach there on this map. This Baneling Morph follow-up was able to get just so much damage, and Elazer went from looking like he might be able to kind of finish the situation on similar work accounts to being at about half. So great execution by Dark, goes back to droning at the perfect time.
So even though he can't get a full wall off without a creep tumor, because that's what you said, correct?
Yeah.
Was it possible to maybe get 1 more building and then you only have 1 Queen taking damage from those Lings instead of having 2 Queens?
I do believe so, yeah. I think you could have a single Queen gap, and that would be massive, because you're basically halving the damage output, maybe even less. There might only be 2 Zerglings rather than 5 that can attack. And if you think about it, it's just a buying time game. You were talking about if only he could transfuse. those two queens died probably at 45 energy.
Yeah, it was awfully close. It was really, really, really close. Yeah, I think that could have potentially been the play if you just see it coming a little bit quicker. And even if you can't get the full wall of all the buildings, you put one queen there, like you said, then you take half the damage.
Yeah.
And we saw how close it initially was. It really was the follow-up links and extra Bane links that started putting Dark ahead. Because initially it was actually very close, but Elazer thought it was over already. He started building drones immediately, and Dark said, nope, I am not totally done yet. Well, Pick, I was looking forward to casting some ZVZ with you, and now I feel like we're 9 minutes in, and Dark is doing the things that he used to do a long time ago, and that is just making very short work of some of the non-Koreans he's gone up against in the past.
Beautifully layered aggression so far. It's been one attack to set up for the next, denying the opponent's information, catching them off guard, and he wants to, of course, finish it off here on Tropical Sacrifice. In the top left, top right side of the map, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, and going for another 12 pull. It's a Dark. Pull the drones, I reckon.
That's what I was chuckling about. I can't believe it. The man has absolutely no chill. In the bottom left side, can he keep it together? It is the man from Poland, representing Team Liquid. Give it up for Elazer. It's gotta be mentally so tough, man. You're so excited that you're in the top 8. You're ready for it. You finished your day yesterday. You're smiling all the way through the very end of your day. You go to bed. You start thinking about all the ZVZ scenarios, when you want to hit certain timings, when you want to drop spires. And then when it's finally time to play your big quarterfinals, best of 5, 9-10 minutes in, you're down 0-2. Like, that's gotta be devastating.
Yeah, Dark's a bully, man. You really need to kind of punch him in the face here as Elazer in a game. Shut down the aggression really hard to get some momentum back in the series. And it does look like it's not going to be a drone pull. It's just going to be a 12 pull into Expand. So a bit more of a chilled out opening for Dark. There's no gas. So that Ling Speed Flood follow-up from game 1, not going to be a possibility. But Elazer's going to be worried about it. And this is kind of the mind game that Dark's playing. It's like, no, it's a completely standard follow-up. But, of course, a long rush distance on this map, technically, it should be relatively calm for Elazer to defend.
I can't believe that we're calling this the chill opening. He's like, he's 12 pulling, but he's not taking the gas, he's not pulling the boys. It's just a 12 pull. Now, some of the other Korean Zergs that Elazer went up against earlier, they messed up a little bit. Solar in one of the games tried to kill the hatchery, but he kind of left it alive with 50 HP, lost all the links, and at that point the game is just over. Dark is absolutely not going to make the mistake. If he goes for the hatch, he is going to be 100% certain that he's going to kill it, and if the drones come and he's forced to fight, he is just going to look for a trade. I always think that if you get 2 drones here, that's like somewhat acceptable. If you get 3, you're already happy, and if you get 4, then as a 12-pull player, you feel like you're flying at that point.
Ooh, he's already got 2. Roddy, this is looking really good. 3 drones. Queen's not. Oh, one Zergling gets surrounded as well. Oh, this is massive. This is a lot of damage. Drones in the red. 4 workers have gone down, and he's not done yet.
5 drones going down. That's something that normally happens when you lose all the links. He hasn't lost all the links. The link micro is absolutely spectacular there by Dark as he wins that skirmish too. He ain't done yet. The queen is finally out, and the queen is going to push those links away, but 5 drones and obviously a lot of lost mining time. And at this point, Elazer is definitely shaking in his boots because he doesn't know yet what the follow-up is. We know that it's nothing crazy, but how can you be certain of that if you're Elazer after everything that has happened in the previous 2 games?
I remember Dark's already up an Overlord here. He's droning up, adding his gases, adding his 3rd queen as well. So Dark getting well set up for the next stage of the game, and Elazer is the one, of course, as you said, nervous, shaking in his boots a little bit, wondering what else is coming out. But this is the one game where just confident droning is the answer. He does have a much quicker Zergling speed with that earlier gas that he'd mined. Queens are going to deny the scouting for now.
Yep. Definitely see Elazer trying with these slow Zerglings. Also going to try to take a little sneak peek with his Overlord. Needs to make 100% certain that he doesn't end up losing it immediately. Unless, okay, he's willing to fully sacrifice it almost by the looks of it. And I don't totally hate that after everything that happened in the previous games. I just want to check that gas. And he's like, all right, that gas hasn't been taken. And now he's going to send it back. Dark definitely economically in a pretty sweet spot. Just did a lot of damage with the 12 pull. Really good Ling micro on the side of the Korean.
And I think Dark's going to follow up with Carapace. Same plan there, because it's such a solid way to play. He's got Ling Speed on the way. That's what tells us that, because it means he wants to play for the delayed Ling Speed. Carapace adding the Roaches and the Ravages with that very solid early mid-game style. It's a big fighting army, the Carapace cancelling out any +1 range. Actually, a Baneling Nest goes down in the second gas for Dark.
Yeah, I mean, that could be kind of standard in a way where even though we open up with a 12 pool, a little bit of a skill test, as you like to call it. You know, we're going to morph a couple of Banes on the other side of the map, make a couple of links, and see if we can get a cancel on the hatchery. That would obviously be big. If Dark can find himself in a scenario where he's on 3 bases, and Elazer will be once more to be back on 2, Elazer is in a world of trouble, and Elazer does not have the Baneling Nest yet. Now, Elazer is making a lot of links, we do see the Roach Warren go down there too, but if he doesn't make a Baneling Nest at all, and Dark just builds nothing but Lings and Banes at this point, I'm actually very worried for Elazer.
Yeah, definitely the Ling Bane counterattack could be scary. This third base looking a little bit exposed right now, but the Zerglings are coming out. Dark's Ling speed just in time. He hasn't morphed a single Baneling yet. There we go. First 2 Banelings are morphing. Elazer's up 7 workers with his own Carapace on the way, but I don't think he started a Roach Warren yet, Roddy, and that is super worrisome for the pole.
Yeah, it's literally just Lings at this point for Elazer, and obviously I can feel that maybe he felt that he had to cut a little corner. Does spot a couple of Banelings that were morphing on the top side. That is so big, because now all the alarm bells will go off. Immediately slaps down that Roach Warren, and I wouldn't even hate a safety spine. The problem is, like, where are you going to put it, right? Is it in the third? Is it in the natural? Maybe somewhere in between. Dark is going to get a little surround on this hatch. Elazer wants to buy time,
get out!
He can't stick around too much longer because Banelings will start finishing up. Queen participating in the fight is cute, and maybe Elazer will just accept that hatchery is always going to fall. Just make sure you don't lose too many drones in your own natural, but how are you going to do it? The Banelings are pushing the Lings away. 1 Queen does fall. Dark gets a very easy snipe on the hatch, but he still wants more.
Oh, great Baneling hits here for Dark, and he's just flooding on in. The Roach Warren's finished, but it's too late. The Banelings finding their way into the worker line. Dark has absolutely no chill and no respect for the opposition in this tournament. Every single round it has been non-stop aggression. He does not want to let these players get in their comfort zone.
Dark was already smiling there the moment he blew up the Queens. He got the hatchery and then he broke into the natural and he already cracked a little smile, leaned back a little bit where he's like, all right, maybe the game doesn't end here, but I know that I am light years ahead in this game at this point, and there is very few that can go wrong. Really surprising that, like, if you skip the Baneling Nest, that's obviously something we've seen before, but then normally the Roach Warren does go down a bit quicker. It really was kind of late on the side of Elazer, and at this point, there honestly is not a whole lot that the Polish Zerg can do anymore. He's gonna fire up the lair, but it's once more 2 base against 3 base. Dark with that 4 worker advantage, where haven't we seen that before, on Waterfall, and he was able to just end it there. This time around, if Elazer just camps on the high ground 2 bases, might be hard to end the game immediately, but Dark has to be very happy with where he's at in this game.
Yeah, adding a handful of drones as well. Dark is happy to, continue. He says, hey, 3 base versus 2 base. Let's utilize that. Adding the Roaches, the Ravagers, the Zerglings as well. And it's just such a scary force to be dealing with. The Ravager-Zergling combo with the surround potential. Losing some Overlords on the other side of the map. Very painful for Elazer. He's so broke, he can't afford this.
If you're a 2-base Zerg, then every unit counts. If you go up against one that's on 3 bases, so losing 2 Overlords is just gonna make things go from bad to worse. All of these Links pretty much get trapped too on the ramp. It is just a bit of a nightmare best of 5 for Elazer here. I'm sure he was pumped up. I'm sure he was ready for it. Had a lot of ideas. And Dark basically showed up and said, oh, those are your plans, and he threw them all in the bin, and he said, nope, we're gonna play my best of 5, and this is the way it's gonna go. Dark from start to finish, big.
Yeah, he's been all over it. This is just what we're seeing and expecting from him. He's just so powerful, and it feels like he hasn't really met that much stiff resistance in this tournament yet, because this has been a lot of his series up to this point. Dark has just been finding his opponent's weak points, clearly studying how they're playing and preparing so well for these series.
Yep, there are a decent amount of Roaches here. The Lynx had a little bit of issue getting on top of them first, but Dark just still has so much, and I don't think that Elazer is going to be able to stop this anymore. All of the Ravagers are still healthy. This could very well be Dark's attack into the semi-finals, where he's going to duke it out with Hero, and that is going to be one hell of a ZVP that we will enjoy later